Welcome to class. Mr. Rao is not here today, so let's look at what is our table of contents. So please open up your table of contents to page 1. Today we are working on pages 52 and 53. Today is 2-12 and we are learning equations. If you want to save yourself time, we're actually learning equations all the way up to 2-15 or pages 58 to 59. So from 52 to 53 all the way to pages 58 to 59, we are learning equations. So you should have picked up your homework from the back of the room, tape it to page 52, or put it in your homework folder. And your notes should go on page 53, or you could tape it at the end of class, because we will be using our notes. So first of all, I need you to copy this down onto your notebook on page 52. Here are some hints. Isolate, inverse, balance, and cancel. Please pause at this time to give students time to copy this down and solve. Welcome back. So here is our question. It says solve it algebraically. So is the x isolated on the left side of this equation? No. We must get rid of minus -7. So what is the inverse of minus -7? Inverse means the opposite operation. So what is the inverse or the opposite operation of minus -7? Plus -7. You must balance it on both sides. These cancel. So x is equal 5 negatives plus 7 negative is -12. So the answer to your warm-up is -12. Now let's check your homework from last night. Here are the answers. I believe Mr. Rao will not be grading it, but in my class, this will be a grade. So here are the answers. George's dog had 7 puppies yesterday. 4 of the puppies were female. What is the number of puppies that were male? You were supposed to have used this equation, x plus 4 equals 7, and the answer is x equals 3. I did algebra tiles, I solved it algebraically, and I graphed it on a number line with a dot. Number 2, on a math test, Gina got 3 fewer answers than Courtney. Gina got 10 questions correct. How many answers did Courtney get correct on a math test? It should be x minus 3 equals 10, and the answer should be x equals 13. If you do not get it, let me explain it. So that means Courtney answered 13 correct, while Gina answered 10. Let's look at this equation. Is Gina got 3 less than Courtney? Less, fewer, means subtract. That's why we're using this equation instead of the other. Number 3, the answer to number 3 in your homework is C. If you solve this, subtract 4 from both sides, x equals 4. Number 4, the answer is B. If I minus 4 on both sides, subtract 4 from both sides, let's cancel, x equals -12. Number 5, the answer is C, because we are doing less than, which means subtract, less than, 15 less than. Number 6, each is B, because each football represents 6 white balls. So this football has 6 white balls, this football has 6 white balls, this football has 6 white balls, so it's a total of 18 white balls. So a 8 ball is equivalent to 8 white balls in pool. So tonight's homework, you will have 8 questions. For my class, this is a grade. It will be graded. Please tape your homework now to page 50. So you may want to pause it and give students time to tape their homework to page 50. Welcome back. So inside your bucket, you will need algebra tiles. So in my class, I told my students separate the variables. Variables are x's and -x from the constant, which is -1 and 1. So can you separate? And then you have an equal sign. Please place the equal sign in the center of your table in front of you. So now I would like you to take out the following pieces. Please take out 2 x's equal -4. I would like you to solve for x. What would x equal to. Please solve for x. So you may want to pause it and give students time to figure out what each x has to equal to. Welcome back. Well, let's hear the answers. So if I have four negatives and I have to divide them or split them up into two groups, so this x, -4 divided by 2, did you do it this way, that each x equals -2? If so, great job. So each x equals -2. If you just took this away like this way, you're wrong, because you need to show me what each x is equal to. X equals -2. Next one. Please clear off your table and take out the following pieces. Take out 4 negative x's, put it on the left side of the equation. On the right side, take out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 positive. Can you tell me what each x is equal to? Each x. You may want to pause it at this time to give students the opportunity to solve for x. Welcome back. Well, here's the answer. We're solving for x. We're not solving for -x. There are two ways you can solve this. Do you remember in the beginning of the year, we talked about negatives, means like do the opposite of? So can you flip them over? What is the opposite of -x? Whoops. So I flip these over, so it is 4x. So that's the opposite. Opposite of -4x is 4x. But then I will have to flip these over. So the opposite of +8 is -8. So now I can solve it. I have 8 negatives. I need to divide them into 4 groups. So each x needs -2. So the answer is x equals -2. How did you do on that one? Hopefully you did pretty good. You know what? Let's try another example of that if you did get stuck on that one. So let's go to this question. -2x equal +6. So on your table, can you show me -2x with your algebra tiles on the left side of the equation? On the right side, show me +6. Can you solve for x? You may want to pause this at this time to give students a opportunity to find x equal. Welcome back. Well, let's solve for x equal. Well, I'm not solving for -x, I'm solving for x. So you know what? I'm going to do the opposite of -x with 2 x's. And the opposite of 6 positive is 6 negatives. So I have 6 negatives that I need to split up or divide into 2 x's. So I mean -6 divided by 2. Each x equals -3. How did you do on that? Did you get x equals -3? Hopefully you did. So let's try this one. So please take out a x. X equals 2. But then I want to show half of x. The way my kids did it is this way. They took out another x piece and they made it like this way. They made it standing up. So they have an x that's flat on the table. They took out another x, and they made it standing so they can see an upper half x and a lower half x. Hopefully that makes sense. I can't really demonstrate it with a flat screen, but hopefully that makes sense. So half of x, each half of x equals 2, +2. What would a full x be? What would a full x be? You may want to pause it at this time to give students opportunity to figure this out. Welcome back. So if each half equals 2, what would the bottom half equal to? Also 2. So a full x equals 4. How did you do? Hopefully you got that correct. So x equals 4. What is another way I could have gotten 4 without using algebra tiles? How many halves go into a whole? 2 of them. There's 2 halves, and each half has 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. Let's try another example. Third of x. So third of x. So what Again, what my students did is they got extra x's and they made it standing up so they can see the thirds. Each third of x is equal to -4. What would a full x equal to? You may want to pause this to give students time to solve it. Welcome back. So if a third, the upper third is -4, what would this middle third be? -4. What would the bottom third equal to? -4. So x equals -12. Again, how could I solve this mathematically? This third, how many thirds go into an x? 3 of them. And each third has -4. 3 times -4 is -12. And our last example, fourth of x. So you may want to get standing x's. So each fourth of an x equals +2. What would a full x be? You may want to pause it at this time. Welcome back. So this x this fourth equals 2. This fourth equals 2. This fourth equals 2. And this bottom fourth equals 2. So x equals 8. How did you do? Hopefully you got that correct. So let's show you why I could solve this mathematically. If you know a fourth has 2, how many fourths go into a whole? 4 of them. And each fourth has 2 pieces. 4 times 2 is 8. All right, so now we use our algebra timeout. We are done with it for now. Can we solve this now mathematically using drawing and stuff? So please give students time to solve this. So put up their algebra tiles and now take out something to write with and take out your notes for today, which is on page 53. Welcome back. So here, let's look at our notes now. So we use algebra tiles to solve it. Now let's try to solve this using drawing and solve it using equations. So before I do that, this is the model for number 1. Can you write it in equation form? Can you translate this model into an equation? There are 2 x's and it's equal to -4. So please write that down. That is the equation. Now let's model the drawing. Each x needs how many pieces? Well, there's 4 negatives. I need to divide them into 2 groups. So each x needs 2 negatives. Each x equals 2 negatives. So x equals -2. That's the drawing model. What if I prefer solving it algebraically? Because I know that's way faster. And it is. So in our previous lesson, this is x. Is x isolated on the left side of the equation? No, it is not. It is next to 2. Would you describe this relationship additive or multiplicative? Hopefully you said it's multiplicative because it's 2 times 8, x. So we have to do so we isolate first. So we need to isolate x by doing the inverse. What is the inverse or the opposite operation of multiplicative? It's division. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. So we divide by 2. But then we have to balance it on the other side. Just like on a balance scale, you have to do on one side, you do on the other side. So you divide 2. Now you must cancel. So what is 2 divided by 2? Doesn't that make 1? So it cancels out. So x equal 4 negatives divided into 2 group is -2. Is our drawing the same thing as our equation? Hopefully it is. Question number 2 now. So number 2, can we translate this model into an equation? What would this be as an equation? Did you write down -4x equals, using the model key, 8? Let's draw this now. So are we solving for negative x's or are we solving for x's? We're solving for x's. So I need to do the opposite of it because I'm solving for x. So opposite of -4x is 4x. Opposite of 8 is -8. Now, how many negatives 8 go in each x? X equals -2. X equals -2. X equals -2. x equals negative 2. So x equals negative 2. So through my modeling, I realize x equals negative 2. But what if you don't like drawing it or using model and you just rather solve it algebraically? I don't blame you at all, by the way. So first of all, I need to isolate x. Is x isolated? No, it's next to negative 4. What is the relationship between negative 4 and x? It's multiplicative. So what is the inverse of multiplying? Dividing. So I divide by negative 4. But I need to balance it on the other side. Now I need to cancel. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 cancels out. X equal 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. Be careful. What I've seen in my other classes is kids say, oh, I divide by 4. If you do negative 4 divided by 4, that's not going to cancel out. That's negative 1. We need to cancel out so it would be 1 or 1x. So what number are you dividing by? Negative 4. Negative 4. Number 3 now. Number 3. So let's translate this model into an equation. What did they do to this x? They seem like they cut it in half. Half of x equals 2. So now let's draw this. If this upper half is 2, what would the bottom half be? 2. So full x will be 4. X equals 4. What if you do not like solving it through algebra tiles or through drawing, and you rather do it algebraically? No worries. So first thing we need to do is we need to isolate x. Is x isolated? No, it's next to 1/2. What is the inverse of 1/2? Let's think. When you do half of something, what operation is that? You're dividing by 2. Half of it. So what is the inverse of dividing by 2? Multiplying by 2. So the way you show multiplying by 2 is like that way. But then you have to balance it on both sides. This cancels. Because what's half of 2? 1. So it cancels. X equals 4. And our drawing shows that. Now number 4. Number 4. Let's translate this model. Did you get, let's see, this is divided, cut in thirds. So 1/3 x equals, that's negative 4. Let's draw it. So if this upper third is negative 4, then this third is negative 4. And then this third right here is negative 4. So a full x is negative 12. X equals negative 12. What if you don't like solving with algebra tiles or drawing? No worries. Let's do it algebraically. So first of all, isolate. Is x isolated? No. Right here, we see it's by 1/3. If you do a third of something, what is that relationship? You're like dividing it. So the inverse of dividing is, yeah, that's right, multiplying. So we multiply 3 on both sides because we're balancing the equation. Now we need to cancel. A third, a 3 is 1. So if you have 3 wholes and you split it into thirds, it'll be 1 whole. I cancel. X equals negative 12. I would like you now to do number 5. You may draw it, or you may solve the equation. It's your choice. Pick which one. You may want to pause it and give students the chance to draw it or solve it algebraically. Welcome back. So first of all, is your x isolated? No. We need to get rid of negative 2. What is the relationship here? It's multiplicative. What is the inverse of multiplying? Dividing. So we need to divide by. But what number am I going to divide by? Am I dividing by 2 or negative 2? Negative 2, because you're getting rid of negative 2. So I balance it on the other side. And now I need to cancel. X equal 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. Again, Why are we dividing by negative 2? Because negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1 whole. It cancels each other out. If you had put negative 2 divided by 2, that would be negative 1x. We're not solving for negative 1x. We're solving for x. Number 6 now. Please give students a chance to solve this. The equation is x divided by 4 equals 2. Please solve this. Please pause. Welcome back. So this is divide by 4. So the inverse of divide by 4 is times 4 times 4. Is x isolated? No. So we need to figure out what is the inverse of divide by 4. It's times 4. So we need to balance it on both sides. That's why I wrote times 4 on both sides. And now we need to cancel. What's 4 divided by 4? 1 whole, or 1x. X equals 8. So for the rest of the class, I would like you to do number 7, number 8, number 9, and number 10. When most people are done, you can play the video, and so students can check their work against me. Welcome back. So first, is x isolated? No. So what is the inverse? This is a multiplicative relationship. The inverse is divide by 4. I balance it on both sides. I cancel. X equals negative 3. Did you get that as an answer? Hope you did. Number 8. X. Is it isolated? No. It's next to half. What is the relationship here? Half is like saying divide by 2. So what's the inverse of it? Multiplying by 2. I balance it on both sides. Half of 2 is 1x. X equals 16. Number 9. 1/8 x equals negative 5. Is x isolated on the left side? No, it is not. So what is the relationship here? 1/8 is divide by 8. So the inverse is times 8. I balance it on both sides. An eighth of 8 is 1 whole. So it's 1x equals negative 40. And number 10. I divide both. Is x isolated on the left side? No, it's not. What's the relationship? It's a multiplying relationship. So I divide both sides by negative 3. Again, why am I dividing by negative 3 instead of 3? Do you see that number right? Do you see the negative right here? Because negative 3 divided by negative 3 cancels out, make 1x. Because negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1. So x equals 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4. So please tape your notes to page 53. And then for the rest, if there's extra time, and I'm not sure that there will be, you can do your homework.